almost comical. Parker Meadows hits the home run to tie things up earlier in the game, and then in the 7th inning, they end up scoring 8 runs without the Yankees recording a single out. They end up scoring 9 runs in that inning altogether. That was one of the most fun innings of baseball the Tigers have played all season long. And look, we've had this debate many times on the show. Who do you want to play if you're a Tigers fan in the postseason? Who's the matchup that you feel the most comfortable with? I think it's the Yankees. I want to see the Yankees in the postseason because if you play them long enough, they'll just start doing stupid things. Just hit the ball towards Anthony Volpe, and he's just going to hurt the team in a way that's like almost laughable. At least when Javi was the worst hitter in baseball, he at least could still make some nice plays at shortstop, even though he was near the top of the league in errors. Volpe can't do anything. Just hit the ball towards him, and he's going to make some mistakes. And in a series, a 5-game series or a 7-game series, the ball's going to find the shortstop, and he's going to screw it up. A -8 outs above average this season. He had the bloop single in short, shallow center field that he couldn't get underneath. He had the bunt that just popped up right to our third baseman, Cole Keith. Like, that was one of the funniest performances from a single player this Major League Baseball season. Not because it was fantastic by any means, but he's just like a target. You know how in basketball in the playoffs, you go find the weak link and try to get a switch onto them? Like LeBron used to do. I mean, everybody still does this, but like you just go find the smallest guy, try to get a switch on him, and go get a basket. Somehow that's like a thing in baseball, but only when you're playing the Yankees because Volpe's just that much of a black hole in the lineup right now. I'd rather play this Yankees team. The fans are going to boo them if they spiral. The whole team is like Casey Mize. You either have it, and when you have it, it's great. But when you don't, things start to fall apart really quickly. I'd like to see the Yankees in the postseason after last night. And maybe that could all change because Judge could hit 3 home runs tonight, and I'd be like, never mind, I don't want to see them. But he had a home run yesterday, and it didn't seem to matter all that much. This is the team I would like to see in the postseason if I'm a Tigers fan.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best part about at least what fits the Tigers' strengths is the clutchness that the Tigers have had this season late in games offensively, combined with the fact that their back-end bullpen is just astronomically better than the Yankees currently. With the amount of different guys that the Yankees have in that pen as well, and they've been dealt with a ton of injuries as well, but I mean, they just don't have guys. I mean, that game last night was crazy. Back-to-back pitchers coming in, just wild pitches, bases loaded walks. The amount of mistakes made by the couple of bullpen arms on the mound with 0 outs in the inning that just made that inning the longest ever. You're not going to see that out of Will Vest and Kyle Finnegan, who obviously is currently on IL, but will be back for the playoffs. So, well, at least hopefully will be back for the playoffs. So, yeah, I think when you at least just compare the Tigers' strengths, which I think the back end of their bullpen is one of their biggest strengths, that is clearly one of the Yankees' biggest weaknesses, that's a clear favor, or at least leaning in the direction of the Tigers' favor. So, I could see it. Right now, they're not currently in the spot to play either the Yankees or the Red Sox, which that matchup will be at the top of the wild card series right now, all but guaranteed. They are the 2 seed right now, the Tigers are. So, hypothetically, they would play the winner of Houston and Seattle, or Houston/whoever sneaks in that final wild card spot. But they're only a half game back of Toronto for the 1 seed. So, if you do get the 1 seed, then you will play the winner of Boston, New York. You also risk the fact of Boston just beating New York, and then you have to play the Red Sox, which maybe you're still fine with playing the Red Sox. Which
ironically is the other team that the Tigers scored 9 runs in 1 inning against this season.
That's a good point, yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I think they kind of match up better against the Tigers as far as they also have an ace that they can throw against Skubal. So I don't think the Skubal start is like a guaranteed win against the Red Sox like it is against the Yankees or maybe any other team. But yeah, I think that as far as we've talked about it for months now, none of these American League teams you really feel great against going up against in a playoff series in that divisional round. The Yankees, though, you might.
You know, I was never a huge Chris Paddock fan. I think from the second they traded for him, it was like, why did the Tigers have to give up their 14th prospect for this guy who was probably going to get waived pretty quickly?
Are you about to defend Chris Paddock?
3 innings pitched, and he picks up the save to close the game out. Casey Mize goes 6. He has another good start, back-to-back good starts for him. Does that make me feel good about him going into a postseason? No, not really. But the fact that he went 6 and you can just throw only one other arm the rest of the way and it's not Troy Melton, so you can kind of save his arm for a day. Kind of a nice addition to the pen, no? Because it's someone who can go more than one inning, can go the 3 innings if you have a lead. If he's cruising, let him keep cruising. And you keep vested when Finnegan's healthy, like save him. I'm just saying, first career save, not a bad addition to the bullpen.
There's also a pretty good chance this is his best stretch of innings he'll ever throw in a Tigers uniform, like last night was.
Best 3 innings in a row?
Yeah.
Could be true. That's all they needed, though.
Well, yeah, they're also winning by 1,000 runs, so I'm not like all of a sudden like, oh, I trust Paddock to pitch in Game 2.
No,
of the
that's not what I'm
series
saying.
In the 6th inning, you know.
But it's nice to have another guy in the bullpen that can go multiple innings. Yeah,
I agree.
I'm not even saying you have to bring him in relief and like, be the main connector. You still have Melton, but to not have to throw Vest or Finnegan yesterday, and that was mostly credit to the offense.
Finnegan's also injured, and Vest would have never pitched in a game that they're up by 10.
Right. It's mostly credit to the offense, but I'm just saying, like, having another guy like that, so where you only had to throw 2 pitchers the entire night, whereas the Yankees had to throw 5, that's pretty huge for Game 1 of a series.
Yeah.
Like,
agreed.
if this is a playoff series, all of a sudden it's like, man, they burned their pen, and the Tigers didn't use anybody, like, of real value from their pen. And now I'm thinking maybe Chris Paddock is kind of real value out of the pen.
I think that is a good way of putting it. Like, the Tigers fans, and maybe just the Tigers themselves, should treat this series like a playoff series because you face New York and you face Boston in the regular season in September to close things out. So those are the 2 teams that you have remaining on the schedule that you actually might face off against in the playoffs, like a pretty good chance of it, honestly. So I think that we should treat these like playoff series because it is a real test of how they could match up potentially in the playoffs. The Boston one's going to feel a lot different because it's literally the last series of the year. Don't know if either team is going to be playing for anything at that current spot as far as positioning goes.
I would imagine they are.
I would think so, just because of how tight it still really is in the wild card race and how tight it is as far as the 1 versus 2 seed for Detroit and Toronto. But yeah, I think that treating this like a playoff series is definitely something worth value for Detroit. And you don't even have to pitch Skubal. I mean, Mize last night was, he gives up the 2 solo homers, but like,
it's also Aaron Judge hit one of them.
Yeah,
it's like, what are you going to do?
You know, like I don't really think it was. I don't think it was. It's back-to-back pretty solid Casey Mize starts after he had after he had some time where he had really struggled. So it's encouraging, that's for sure.
The 2 starts that Casey Mize has had in September have been beyond solid. And again, like, just because he's put together 2 starts doesn't mean I'm all of a sudden backing on Casey Mize. Like, hey, I feel good about this guy going against a playoff team. Because on one hand, like, he did dominate a playoff team last night. So, like, credit where credit's due. But on the other hand, like, everybody on the Yankees saw him and saw his stuff. And it's like, okay, I don't know if I can expect back-to-back outings like that for Casey Mize against the Yankees. But anyway, in September, 11 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 0 walks, and 11 Ks. That's kind of been his thing all year. He's not gonna put too many guys on base by walking him. But the strikeouts that he's added to his game this season, and it feels like that's progressed even as the years went on when he's been an ineffective pitcher, he's still finding a way to get more and more strikeouts, which has never been the case in his career. And it's not really coming from that split finger either. That's the thing.
Yeah, which I will say the splitter last night was pretty dialed in. At least he was throwing a ton of it, which he usually does throw a lot of it. But it felt really good last night as far as him actually getting the swing and miss from it. Anytime you have 8 Ks and no walks, like, I'm never going to complain about the other stats. Unless you give up 10 homers. But, like, you're not in the game that long. So anytime you go 8 Ks, 0 walks, you're going to feel really good about it. The last couple starts, we're starting to get back to that, okay, Casey Mize is for sure going to be the number 2 starter in the playoffs, right?
Yeah,
right? We're there.
I agree with that.
We're there. I mean, I know that for a point we were up in the air of, like, is it actually going to be Jack Flaherty? And I still just, I don't know. I know that Mize has probably been worse in the stretch than Flaherty was prior to these 2 good starts in September. But there's still just something about every time Jack Flaherty takes the mound, which he does tonight, that I just
hold your breath.
Yeah, I just really do not feel confident ever. Like, it's an odd feeling. And like I said, when Mize, I always feel better about Mize on the mound. Like, oh, he's probably got better stuff.
Well, maybe because Mize started out the season as one of the best pitchers. Like, they just kept winning games when he was out there. Remember, they were like, 7-0 to start the season when he pitched?
Most wins on the Tigers still to date.
And that was never the case with Flaherty. It was the opposite. They kept losing all the Flaherty starts, whether it's his fault or the offense not being able to generate runs. Eventually, like, even if it's subconsciously, you start to tie those things together and associate wins with Casey Mize and losses with Jack Flaherty. That's got to be part of the reason that you feel that way, more confident in Casey Mize.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Flaherty, by the way, too, because I just mentioned the Mize one more win than Skubal, so I was just interested to look at this. Jack Flaherty with 13 losses on the season. No one on the Tigers has more than 5 losses, and it's Casey Mize with 5. 13, though, for Flaherty. That is actually unreal.
How many wins does he have?
7.
Yeah, there's a reason I feel better about